Niger Primetime News with Israel Lai.
Good evening and welcome to the Primetime News Bulletin here on the Joy News channel. Coming up in tonight's bulletin, Amnesty International warns homelessness and slum dwelling will continue to grow unless a national housing policy is drawn to deal with arbitrary rent charges. Hundreds of residents have been rendered homeless as strong winds wreak havoc in Gushiegu. President Mahama assures the country should increase its electricity generation capacity to 5,000 megawatts by 2016 as he tours the Bui Hydro Dam project. Minority MPs deliver their version of the State of the Nation address, describing current challenges with the provision of utilities as a reflection of the NDC government's failures. In business, Private Enterprise Foundation demands more clarity on how much has accumulated to the toll debt recovery levy and justification for the exploration levy. We have all these and more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay tuned. In our very first story, Amnesty International has warned Ghana will be confronted with more homelessness and the growth of slum dwellings if urgent efforts are not made to develop a national housing policy. It cites Sodom and Gomorrah, Accra's biggest slum, where the population has increased by about 25,000 in the last 4 years. Amnesty blames the situation primarily on the arbitrary rent charges by landlords. It says a housing policy should address.
Amnesty estimates that approximately a third of Accra's residents who are unable to find or afford the high rent charges end up in slum communities, further fueling the growth of such communities. It says the Sodom and Gomorrah slum has seen the population increase from 55,000 in 2008 to nearly 80,000. The slums are usually characterized by grossly inadequate housing and living conditions, lack of basic services, overcrowding, and insecurity of tenure. It is this insecurity of tenure that leaves people vulnerable to forced eviction. Should government today decide to demolish Sodom and Gomorrah, as has been threatened in the past, its residents will most likely be rendered homeless and poor.
We want to look at how we can contribute to the process of ensuring that all Ghanaians, because of human rights, have housing, adequate access to adequate housing. We think that whatever comes here will be a kind of a report that we want to send to government about the need for us to have a housing policy, the need for us to stop forced eviction, the need for us to do a lot of consultation, genuine consultation with people who will be affected when we want to evict people from where they are, the need for us also to look at upgrading of the slums areas that we have in this country.
The agency also blames the situation on the unequal distribution of wealth between rural and urban communities. It, however, believes through its advocacy and educational programs, people would not be forced to live on the streets.
Amnesty per se is not entirely against all evictions because we know that some evictions are necessary. And so we make them understand that they also have a responsibility not just to live anywhere, anyhow. And so we take them through the legal safeguards. And so they also know, for them to know their responsibilities in terms of evictions.
The agency today held a one-day training program in Accra on the importance of giving adequate notice to residents and a settlement package before evicting them from the places of abode as part of its advocacy. The participants were drawn from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, the slum communities, the security agencies, and the media.
The New Patriotic Party members of Parliament in their version of the State of the Nation address say Ghanaians are subsidizing the inefficiencies of the National Democratic Congress government. According to them, the persistent announcement of shortages of essential utilities and products across the nation is a reflection of the government's failure. Addressing the media today, the minority leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu said the country's debt has increased from $8 million in 2009 to $33 billion this year.
Osei Mensah Bonsu said government has been busy praising itself for maintaining single-digit inflation instead of dealing with the crisis confronting Ghanaians, adding, Ghanaians need jobs, not propaganda. According to him, the NDC administration has mismanaged the economy in spite of the resources Ghana has been blessed with. Osei Mensah Bonsu also said growth in the agriculture sector has declined due to the failure of government to put in place adequate measures to reduce the pressure on the nation's farmers. The NPP MPs also decried the influx of cheap Chinese goods, blaming government for an inappropriate tax regime, lack of access to credit, and high utility costs and power outages, which mean low productivity. The minority listed the energy, education, transportation sectors, among others, as some of the areas where the Mahama-led government has failed. The NPP members of parliament in their State of the Nation address also indicated that the current energy crisis is not as a result of low levels of water shortage in the Akonsombo Dam, but as a result of the shortage of gas and the financial difficulties of the Volta River Authority, VRA, which government has failed to resolve. The minority recalled how the NPP government used to support the VRA to procure crude oil by about $40 million every month. He indicated that the support was withdrawn by the NDC government. He said instead of the NDC government supporting VRA, it is making further promises that were initiated by the NPP government.
Indeed, when the NDC promised to increase electricity generation capacity to at least 500,000 megawatts in the medium term, the truth is that they have only added 2 megawatts, as I've already indicated to you. The other hydro projects, which were receiving cabinet consideration under the Kufuor's administration, including the Ankobra, Tano, Pra, and Oti projects, have all moved to the back burner under the NDC. It is no wonder then that the nation has, over the past 1.5 years, been experiencing serious power outages, which is resulting in the destruction of household appliances, buildings, and markets. Industry has lost out in a very significant proportion, and above all, the doomsaw phenomenon has exacted a severe toll on human life.
The minority questioned the NDC on any new investment that the party has undertaken since the party came to power in 2009.
Now, strong winds that struck Gushiegu in the northern region last night has rendered hundreds of residents homeless and injured others. Several structures, including the Electoral Commission's local office, 6 junior high schools, a senior high school, and hundreds of houses were destroyed.
The Gushiegu Senior High School was one of the most affected, with classrooms and senior resource centers badly damaged. Teaching and learning was disrupted as students and teachers were left without classrooms for normal academic work. District Chief Executive Alhaji Alhassan Fuseni and NADMO officials toured the area to interact with affected victims and also assess the extent of damage. His visit took him to 6 junior high schools and the Gushiegu Senior High School, where the headmaster, Nuhu Inusa, told him preparations for final exams could be badly affected if government does not come to their aid. The DCE assured the students and victims that the District Assembly is going to collaborate with NADMO to ensure the school structures that were destroyed are rehabilitated. The District Police had to quickly move in to evacuate properties and documents in the District Electoral Commission's office, which had its roof ripped off. District Commissioner Mumini Watara, however, said none of the documents having to do with the December 7th general election were destroyed. 4 students of the Gushiegu Senior High School who were hurt as a result of the strong winds are responding well to treatment at the Gushiegu District Hospital. NADMO officials in the district tell Joy News registration of affected victims has already started, and so adequate assistance can be sought from Accra to assist them.
We're taking a break now. Do stay tuned. We have more news. Now, Ghana's first truly digital television, Multi-TV, has launched the first ever children's news program on the 4Kids channel. The program News Generation is a 30-minute news magazine program for young people aged 12 and 15.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on another edition of News Generation.
We are the Shotokan Karate School in Accra, And it will interest you to know that children as young as 6 are practicing martial arts with adults. So what's up with all that? Let's find out.
In Ghana, news is a serious business and mostly targeted at the adults in the society. Children are often left out in the news business. Though there are some newspapers targeting children, it is not enough. Almost all the electronic media do not have news programs where young people are allowed to read news and do stories that concern them. To offer a platform for young people to air their views and be heard, Multi TV has introduced the News Generation. News Generation is a current affairs and news program and explains to children what is going on around them.
What we are doing is to give young people a voice. It's a current affairs and news program. We want to explain to children what is going on around them because children love to ask questions. They ask questions about everything. They want to know everything that's going on around them. And of course, that affects them, so they have a right to know. So we break down the news for them to understand. And also, they come to us with issues that they're concerned about, and we give them a voice to express it and also ask their questions. Next 2 years, you're going to see News Generation all over the place because it's not a program that is a seasonal thing. It's not a program that is going to be, let's say, 13 episodes and it goes off. It's a program that is going to go on forever, and it's going to get bigger because what we're going to do is now we just run it once a week, but we're going to go on probably by the middle of the year to run it twice in a week.
The program has different segments, including a time where children voice their problems and seek answers from authorities. It aims to provide relevant and independent news for children and give them a voice whilst highlighting issues of child rights. In an interview with some children, they said the program is educative and requested the time to be extended.
News Generation is a very educative program for kids. It helps us to know what's going on in the country. It keeps us informed and it gives children a voice.
News Generation is a very good program. It helps enhance a child's confidence. I want to tell them that they should keep up the good work. They should prolong their time to an hour, maybe very soon 2 hours, and to make the children enjoy the program because we really, 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 really love News Generation.
I think it's really inspiring for young children like us. I mean, we get to speak our minds. We get to say what our parents don't let us say, what we are not able to say in front of adults. But when we come together like this and we, like programs such as these, we are able to speak our mind. Well, even though the adults wouldn't listen to us, at least we are speaking our mind.
Some who do not watch also decided to watch from today.
I never really heard of it until I came here, and now that I know about it, it seems that will be a very good opportunity for me to have the encouragement to speak my mind.
Oh, from what I've seen so far, I think it's fantastic. I plan on watching this Sunday on For Kids.
News Generation is on Multi TV for Kids channel, which runs from 3:30 p.m. and Joy News channel 4 p.m. every Sunday.
Right, we just have some tragic news coming through from Kumasi. We're told that one of the Siamese twins was separated yesterday in the 9-hour-long surgery at the Conjoined Teaching Hospital has passed. We're joined on the line now by Ohiming Teria. Good evening to you, Ohiming.
Good evening, Israel.
All right, so what can you tell us about this tragic news?
Yeah, Israel, this is a heartbreaking story, heartbreaking information that I have been taken at the Conjoined Teaching Hospital. Currently, I'm just in front of the intensive care unit where these kids were sent immediately after the surgery yesterday. The surgery lasted for almost 11 hours, and unfortunately, we are taking information that one of the babies has just passed on. I'll be very grateful if Dr. Bokini Marco is the head of pediatric surgery and one of the surgeons who worked on the baby yesterday. Doctor, good evening. Welcome to Multi TV. Good evening. Doctor, can you confirm to us that indeed what we are hearing is true, that one of the babies who was separated yesterday has passed on?
Yes, yes, I can say that. We can deny that. We said yesterday that they were in critical state at the first 24 to 48 hours was the most critical point. in the management. And since the surgery was successful, the next care was by the intensive care unit, and they were working a lot of time, the whole day today. They were on the child the whole day. We also know that a particular kid also had anomalies. He had problems with the lips, called a cleft lip, cleft palate. He had some heart problems, which was supposed to be manageable until we finished everything. Unfortunately for us, they've been on here throughout the day. Yesterday was a bit active, but the next day wasn't doing so well. So everybody who is involved in intensive care in the hospital has been around the baby all throughout. So at the end of the day, getting to the evening part, we heard that he was no more responding to the treatment that we were giving to her. So we can confirm that we lost one of them, the one that had other problems also.
So we've lost one, and what's the current state of the other one who is still on admission at the ICU?
Yes, we're still saying that they are still in a critical state. We still have a lot of work to do on them. Not the surgical aspect, but more like a medical aspect as to what else they have to be able to keep them active throughout so that their functions will all be within the normal range. It's not an easy thing doing that on babies, and a lot of people have come together to try to resolve some of the problems that they're facing. But that one, the second one is also in a critical state. We said it the last time that all of them with a critical state in the first 48 to 72 hours. That's what they are in now, and we are hoping that the measures that we are putting in place will be able to resolve the situation so that we keep them alive.
This might be sad though for doctors who spend more than 11 hours, about 12 hours working on these babies, only to learn that one of them has passed on.
Yes, because if we can see, the whole of yesterday we were on them, and nobody was eating, nobody was drinking. They had to stand on them over the whole period and be able to finish up the surgery, a very difficult surgery as such. But after that, the care is out of our hands. It usually goes to other group of people to take care of them from there. They can ask us for anything, but we are surgeons, so at the end of the day, they still are a very important part of our management. And it's very unfortunate that some of these things that happen. Sometimes we have problems with some of the things that we need to monitor them. Right now, we want them to check their blood gases to see how they are responding to their treatment. We don't have some of these machines working. So it's really difficult for them. I'm not the one who's involved with them now. But the surgery, yes, I was very important part of it.
So let's talk about what exactly went wrong, because, for instance, though it's too early to be predicting what might have killed this particular baby, what went wrong? Because at least we're giving hope that indeed once they have been separated, though they will be in critical condition, but something could have been done to keep them alive.
Yes, I cannot say that I can pinpoint whatever is the actual cause of the death for the baby. We need to follow up and do a postmortem on them, on her, the particular one, the second twin. But as I said, they were in critical state, and everything that needed to be done was being done to keep them alive over that period. Unfortunately, we lost her, and we have to investigate. Tomorrow to be able to see what actually was the cause of that.
This will be a personal question. It seems you are emotionally attached to these twins. Could it be the fact that is why maybe you've lost words as I speak to you now?
Yes, it's not only these twins. We are always emotionally attached to all the children that we take care of. If any kid of us pass on, yes, a lot of questions are always asked to anybody who is involved in that. We are always attached to every single one of them that passes through your hand, not only these ones. So, especially when you know that you put in so much effort to be able to perform the surgeries, and then at the end you have issues afterwards, then it becomes a bit problematic for you. Of course, become emotional part of it. It's something that we have to deal with every day anyway.
Yeah, Israel, this is Dr. Boati Nimakon. He is the head of pediatric surgery at the Conjoined Teaching Hospital. I remember yesterday he spent quite a number of hours working on these conjoined twins, but unfortunately, the sad news is that one of them, the second, that the mother chose to call her gift, has passed on Israel.
Right, thank you very much. That was Ohiming Tuya reporting from Kumasi, where news is that one of the two Siamese twins that were separated yesterday in an 11-hour operation has passed on. We'll get you some more details subsequently, but in other news, the new Patriotic Party I'll move on to some other stories. Constituents from the Conjoined North constituency are angry over the MP's withdrawal of questions on the state of the George Walker Bush motorway. Residents are threatening to physically attack him if he doesn't sit up and work for the constituency.
The decision by the NPP MP for Conjoined North constituency, Patrick Boam, heavy criticism from some members of the NDC, especially who say he does not have the moral authority to question a minister his party does not recognize. The withdrawal of the urgent question about the heavy death toll on the highway has, however, not gone down well with his constituents.
I feel he's not responsible. That's what I feel. Because if you mean business, we have put you into that position. You go and sit there and you do what you want. Then are you taking us for granted or what? So next time, you are not encouraging us to go and vote. Simple as that.
The MP seems not to be concerned about it. And we are urging them to talk about it in Parliament because it's really hurting us. We, the people of La Paz, are crying.
Mr. Buama and Mrs. Lisbeth Seki Lisbeth se sian ya to ani branya sayen ye bebo cho boy e de abamoso because se sian ba bi aduro no niam ekoso La Paz ya no ye ntiase eni enyan enye
wo ye suggest se MP no optimi ye okwan bi obefa so obeye food bridge wa han asese oye enye sade ene na adwuma no enso ani asese wo yinifo ono na sese obeye ense se ye ni mobia MP no ono na se ye ngani abre no so sase ni pewu han.
Scenes from the Conjoined North constituency early this year as residents angered by the death toll on the N1 highway took to streets to protest and to demand answers. They came up against tear gas and a resolute police force. In January alone, at least 6 of their fellow constituents, including children, had been knocked down and killed by vehicles on the highway, and they wanted answers from their NPP MP, Patrick Boama.
Na no bi wi wa ha na container no to nipa no so no. In fact, ye sui o ma La Paz boys na bomodi ayi nam awu adimu ansa na nipa yi wo yi wo na nipa bebre awu. Another bio na no bisa sister bi ni ma America hospital. And also can so ebe nya accident wa sister ni nan se she POP mu ha. Ye twom wa ha se ya. Ye dimrika apachefo won ani fryfo. Nano ka bo abofra ba ko ha wa bi fia wotwe nano bi bo ababranti bi onu owi.
The MP's moral authority to ask questions of the roads minister had been questioned since the NPP MPs boycotted the ministerial vetting. Roads Minister Amin Suleiman spoke on Top Story earlier about the state of the N1 highway and government's plans to restructure to avert future recorded deaths.
Business News is next. Now, the Private Enterprises Foundation is demanding clarity from government on the toll debt recovery levy. According to the foundation, after 10 years of collecting the 8 Peswa levy, the public is unaware how much is accumulated and how much of the debt is left. A statement issued after an emergency meeting by the Governing Council has also questioned the justification for the exploration levy when the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation charges investors who do their own exploration in the country a fee. It says unless some justification is advanced, the levy should be scrapped. In another development, former Chief Executive of the erstwhile Ghana at 50 Secretariat, Charles Reku-Brobe, has called for transparency and accountability in the pricing of petroleum products to enable Ghanaians accept new price increases whenever they are announced. According to him, statements like governments cannot continue to subsidize petrol, our fuels are being smuggled across our borders, and our neighboring countries pay more for fuel than we do are vague and not a true reflection of the situation on the ground. He was addressing the media at his inaugural Ghana Institute for Public Policy Options lecture in Accra.
The lecture was to mark the 60th birthday and also to commemorate his 25 years of public service. Speaking on the topic, when ignorance is not bliss, the politics of petroleum pricing in Ghana, Dr. Reku-Brobe wasted no time in indicating that government was shortchanging the populace by not providing enough information to back its decision to increase fuel prices.
What I'm seeking for us to do is to introduce honesty and transparency into a process so that all of us can understand where it is that we are coming from and we sing from the same hymn sheet. Let's bring clarity as to who is paying for it and what is it meant to do. Targeted subsidies will never work where there are multiple and competing uses for the object of the subsidy.
Going forward, he tasked government to ensure the automatic pricing formula, especially the aspect that protects the automatic adjustment of ex-refinery prices, must be given a legal backing via a bipartisan parliamentary action. He also tasked government to take another look at some of the levies on petrol in order to mitigate the impact of any price increase on cost of living.
A monthly review of the price build-up is inconsistent with governance in our society. If that's what we want to do, we can do two things. We can go back to the once-a-year review, which used to happen in budgets, or we can say that we could do it quarterly, or we can do it half-yearly. But the point surely I'm making is that you cannot postpone forever. At some point, it will hit you. Now, we need to look at the consequences. If we accept that petroleum prices have a serious impact on cost of living and the way in which we live, then I would argue that kakra is better than gargantuan periodic increases. And maybe we need to look at the periods of price increases to see the ones which have got the minimal impact on the poor and the cost of living areas.
The second in the series of Dr. Reku-Brobe's lecture is on the theme, Darkness Begets Darkness, shedding load to power Ghana's development.
The prices of goods and services on the Ghanaian market witnessed a significant drop from 17.1% to 11.5% of the producer price index, which is the rate at which manufacturers sell their goods and services to retailers. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the sharp decline in inflation rate for manufacturing from 19.3% to 12.8% and negative record in petroleum automatically had an impact on the entire decrease in the prices of goods and services in the country.
In the manufacturing sector, 9 out of the 16 major groups recorded inflation rates higher than the sector average. The manufacture of textiles in the country recorded the highest rate of inflation of 34.3%, whilst the manufacture of Coca-Cola, refined petroleum products recorded inflation of negative 1.3%. Acting government statistician for technical support, Dr. Ban Wadie, noted the substantial decline in petroleum and manufacturing accounted for the overall rate of the producer price index.
Manufacturing contributes about 2/3 of the weight for the entire industry index. Yes. So when you record such a decline in manufacturing, it automatically impacts on the entire index. But more importantly, inflation for petroleum that we recorded a sharp decline between December 2012 and January 2013. In fact, it was negative. It went into the negative. And these are producer prices that we are talking about.
The month-on-month change in producer prices between December 2012 and January 2013 was 0.2%. On the sector-by-sector analysis, the January 2013 producer price inflation in the mining and quarrying decreased by 8.4% over the December 2012 rate of 26.8%. Meanwhile, the petroleum sector exhibited a downward trend of negative 1.3%, the lowest so far recorded in January and March 2012. The monthly changes in producer price index indicated that the mining and quarrying sector recorded the highest inflation rate of 18.4%, followed by manufacturing 12.8% and utilities 1.2%, which witnessed no change.
A research conducted by the International Labour Organization on small-scale businesses in Ghana has revealed the lack of cooperation between management and staff is responsible for low productivity in the sector. To this end, the ILO today signed a memorandum of understanding with the Association of Ghana Industries to train SME owners on sustaining competitive and responsible enterprises.
Although SMEs contribute significantly to the country's economy, that is by providing jobs for approximately 80% of the country's labor force, the SME sector is saddled with numerous challenges, including access to funding and high interest rates. President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Nana Oswaferi, is therefore hopeful that the training will, among others, help reduce agitations on the labor front.
They also have challenges in their own capacity to manage their enterprises. And this is the area where we are very much concerned. Sometimes workers agitate. We want this, we want that, we want that. Then they forget that they are doing the same work with management. And some people come to the office and bolt away. Then they come back to ask for higher remuneration. That doesn't work. So let us develop the attitude of cooperating so that we can all work together and produce and get more income for the company. Then we can all share.
Manager of the ILO training program in Ghana, Kwamina Amwesi Ando, explains the modules contained in the program.
The modules are workplace cooperation, where we bring the two parties together to work effectively, efficiently. Module 2 is quality, and module 3 is on efficiency in production. For example, if you're using 100 units of electricity to produce 1 unit good, can we bring it to 80 and still produce the same good? Then number 4 is how to manage your human resources to work for you. The final one is health and safety and environment. You remove all the unsafety issues and the environment is very conducive and safe. You work efficiently. So
next up, we bring you smart investment tips.